minutes?
Yeah, a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
So we'll start at 2 minutes.
Okay.
All right.
So this is news and weather.
At the top of the hour.
Ukraine's fucked up.
At the top of the hour.
Ukraine's flipping.
I can't believe you cursed. You ruined this recording.
Do we have to kick you off of the show now?
Oh, no.
Here's a fine for 7,000.
God.
Because you cursed.
Jesus.
Good job, DJ Freshy Fresh.
No, I remember.
Guys, can we get serious now?
Yeah.
News and weather.
DJ Freshy
DJ.
That's adorable.
Freshy effed.
Fresh F.
DJ Hot Shit.
Another $7,000 buddy.
Wow, guys, we're at 14,000 already. We are
Making bank.
I promise those business cards didn't cost that much.
DJ.
Alright, we're at 1 minute.
Okay, we're gonna get to a minute and a half.
Alright, DJ
Yeah.
Fuckline.
Is that what you thought?
No, I was.
Why wouldn't you at least do DJ Flatfuck?
Or
DJ
Coke Line.
Oh, yeah.
You can say
Coke
hardcore.
Line.
You can say Coke
I
Line.
can say Coke Line.
DJ Mad Muslim.
Alright.
That's 130.
Alright. This is the Guild of Geeks. If you're listening to this, that means we thought it was good enough to put it on our website. So I'd like to congratulate all the DJs here. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Good job.
Congratulations.
Pat yourselves on the back. Good job. Good job. Alright.
Success.
Success, exactly. So, we're going to start this one off with introducing everybody. I am DJ Hotshot.
I'm DJ Flatline.
I am DJ Freshy Fresh.
I'm DJ Madman, and here with the news is DJ Hotshot, because he's already introduced himself.
This is why I didn't want it to be so robotic.
Take it away, buddy.
First up, Sledgehammer joins Infinity Ward and Treyarch in developing Call of Duty games. What that means is, it'll still be released annually, but now they'll have 3 years instead of 2 to come out with Call of Duty games. They're hoping that this will give them more time to have more innovation and envision a better title or whatever, but honestly it just sounds like they're tired of coming out with bad games. Titanfall for 360 gets delayed to March 25th. If you don't know, Titanfall is EA's big new title. It's kind of their last shot. And the hype surrounding this game is absolutely gigantic. Still set for March 11th, though, for Xbox One and PC.
If you haven't seen anything about Titanfall yet, you can go to our website, and there are trailers there for most of the stuff that we will be talking about today. So, the website is www.theguildofgeeks.com.
If you didn't know that, then you're probably not on our website, and
You
how
should
did
get
you
on that.
listen to this? Next up, EVE Online.
Alright, so EVE Online actually saw the largest battle in online gaming history a couple weeks ago. The Battle of BR5RB cost about 300,000 US dollars worth of ships were lost during that entire fight. That was about 16 hours of continual fighting. And so that's a lot of game time people were putting in. And
Yeah, didn't I read that the average time played was like 12 hours, per day for the players playing that battle?
yeah, it actually, because the server goes down daily for maintenance and stuff like that, it would lighten up towards the end, but people would still be fighting even whenever the servers were going down, and then they would all sit there at their computers, wait for server maintenance, and they'd all jump right back in, and everybody would start killing each other and screaming stuff on TeamSpeaks and Venturelos.
That's awesome.
Honestly, I'm just waiting for those meta ops where they actually send people from their guilds or whatever out into the real world and start smashing the other computers.
Like an aggressive, they go into people's homes.
I'm thinking the entire ship, man.
blowing up cars.
Actually, something that I've actually found really interesting with EVE and its community already is a couple of my friends used to be aligned with one of the different corporations and stuff like that. A lot of different politics involved. But they would go and create a different character, go into one of the enemy alliances, and then not necessarily report back positions, but they would start to make mistrust within the alliance and
man.
make each other start to not trust one another because they would have small little fleets ambushing people and stuff like that, and so they would know that there was a mole, but these guys were trusted themselves, and there are so many people who do that now.
That's a really interesting game mechanic, because of course, like, you could have like moles and stuff like that because people can just make new characters. It's not like real life where you could just like start killing off people until you had your trusted people. More people would still be joining your ranks. That's awesome. Pokebank, now available in North America.
That is right. I would say it as many times as I could, but you know what? You get the idea. Pokebank is finally here, guys, and it is huge. It can store a lot of Pokemon, a lot like Bill's PC, but it can store up to 3,000 Pokemon in this cloud system they have rigged up. You just have to download it for your DS, and if you download it before September 30th, 2014, you get a Celebration Celebi. Not a spectacular shiny Celebi, but it is a Celebi. It is a Celebi, which is fantastic.
Is there anything special about this Celebi? Is it like shaded, or is it just going to be like what's up?
It is the same Celebi. It does have this one new move attached to it, which the name escapes me. But yeah, it's a special move Celebi.
Well, it is a legendary Pokemon.
Oh,
So it is.
oh,
yes.
It's
It's
special.
super rare. But
Forgive me, because it's not like every 14-year-old in this universe has a Lugia or another legendary Pokemon.
It's true, but I mean, it's not like a Bidoof or something like that. It is somewhat
Bidoof
special.
is the legendary.
He takes it to the next level. And if you're looking to get it, it is $5 a year. Somewhat of a bargain, and you can pull games, I think, as far back as
Generation 3.
Generation 3, that's right. So grab your old games, start throwing Pokemon in the bank, and see where it takes you. Elder Scrolls Online. A lot of people are pissed off about that. Why?
Because mainly a lot has to do with the collector's or Imperial edition, and so a lot of people, due to the benefits and the different pros that they're giving just for the additional $20 or so that they're requiring for the collector's edition, they're giving things like a mount, which that's pretty basic. Nobody has a real big problem with that. But they're making the Imperials, note the Imperial edition, playable, which was actually not originally announced, and so only, as we know thus far, this is all speculation because they've released very, very, very few details, actual details. But yes, you are able to play an Imperial, which was originally not supposed to be in the game.
So let me guess, the Imperials are going to get Call of the Empire, which can calm all the trolls in the server?
We don't know. Like, all that they've said is that they're going to have their own unique crafting and skill line. So like all of the other races, minus the crafting, all of the other races have their own special racial bonuses and actives and stuff like that. Normal, Elder Scrolls stuff. But the Imperials will have their own crafting line.
That's insane. And I also, I read online that a lot of people are really upset about it because as soon as the game comes out, it's going to be a race to the top as far as the top level goes. And the Imperials get a boost to experience. And as the mountain might not sound like too much, it does allow you to get places faster, so grinding will be easier. So a lot of people are just upset at like the huge boost that you're going to get to experience.
Right. The one thing that you mentioned about the EXP boost was not because of the Imperials in general, it's because of what the Collector Edition gives you, which is a pair of rings that give an experience boost. We don't know how much that is, if both players have to be online, have to be near each other, or what with the rings, but they will give you an experience boost. The other thing, with the mounts, this is another thing that people are kind of wishy-washy on, because we don't know if that's going to be a level 1 mount, or if you're going to be getting that mount whenever everybody else is, and so you're just going to have a nice little pony that's actually a little bit more fancy. Yay.
Fair enough.
Is it going to be anything like Butt Stein?
I have no idea what you're referencing right now.
Borderlands 2.
I did not play
Borderlands 2. Oh, all right. Well, you guys understand. You guys understand. Anyway.
In other news, new versions of Grand Theft Auto 5 could come to other platforms. which a lot of people have been requesting. The CEO of Take-Two says, if that's where the gamers are, that's pretty much where they're trying to lead to. They're going to expand in any platform, whether it be other consoles, PC, even tablets. That's where they want to be if that's where their customers are. So look for that into the future. Just try to, keep an eye out. You might be able to get it regardless of having, I think it was only Xbox 360 that they released to.
Yep.
And Xbox One, I think, isn't even a thing yet, so keep an eye out if you have one of those fancy new consoles. Child of Light, available for pre-purchase. If you aren't excited about that, then you probably have no idea what Child of Light is. Go on our website, theguildofgeeks.com, go to the trailers, and watch this beautiful, gorgeous game being played. It's a side-scroller with a turn-based combat system. It looks amazing. It definitely gives you that indie feel, but it definitely looks fleshed out enough to not be one of your, barrage of alphas out there. 7 Days to Die is on sale on Steam. 30% off for both packs, so that's $23 for a single game and $33 for a 2-pack. So grab a friend, grab $33 exactly, and go to Steam so you guys can both play. A lot of people are talking about it, so it has to be worth something. So what's up with Nevermind?
Nevermind? Well, I'll tell you not to never mind this game. Please pardon the pun. It is this new horror game that's going to be coming out for the PC. That is going to be not one, even though it does advertise as being one of those indie horror games where you just kind of do the puzzle solving. This game actually learns from your horror. The game is currently in Kickstarter right now, so please visit their site, which you can find on theguildofgeeks.com. But if you fund this game, you're in for a real treat. Check out the trailer, which we will also provide for you. But you're given this belt around your chest that monitors your heart. That's right, it's finally come to this point where it will watch you. And if you get scared, it will actually get a lot harder. But, I would really just say check it out because it is a thrill ride to just see this trailer and see the new horror that's coming out into the market.
Yeah, I saw an interview with the developer of the game, and she said it was mostly to teach you to be able to calm yourself down, because the game gets near impossible if you're afraid. And the more afraid you are, the more, it's harder. It's more challenging, and you're more scared. So you need to learn to calm yourself down to get through the game.
Eventually, once again, I go back to the trailer. If you see these guys playing the game, she's going to be breeding one heck of an army of fearless people if she makes this go to fruition.
I can't wait. So we gotta switch to a PSA. Is that? Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna break for a quick PSA. Then we'll be right back to the highlights. So yeah, this is where a PSA will go. PSA.
How long do you think PSAs will?
30 seconds. 40
Yeah,
seconds.
really, they're not
Right,
really.
so at 13:45.
Okay.
Yeah.
13:45.
All right. Yeah.
PSA.
All right. So for highlights, what are
We're gonna do Sonic Boom, Insurgency, Loadout, and Thief.
Yes, Sonic Boom and Insurgency.
That's mine.
Yeah, that's right.
Back into it.
Okay, that was informative. Now we're going to get into some big highlights. This is a section of the show where we'd like to talk about games that we know a little bit more about, there's a little bit more information out there, and we're particularly either excited or ready to see it fall. So first up, Sonic Boom. What have we heard? What have we seen?
I want to go first.
DJ Freshy Fresh?
This game is the next, pardon the pauses, folks, because this is one trailer you are just going to love watching. Anyway, this is the newest line in a bunch of in the new age of Sonic games.
How many Sonic games are there?
I don't know at this point. They're going too fast. Oh god,
We're gonna have to look it up.
I'm just puns. I'm just all puns today.
That was a terrible pun.
Anyway, this is their newest attempt at Fresh, maybe Freshy Fresh.
That's you. You're Freshy Fresh.
See,
I'm
it's
Hotshot.
This Sonic Boom. Anyway, take away, Madman. Just tell them about the game.
This isn't my kind of game. I do not know about
Okay,
Sonic
so
Boom.
Sonic Boom is the next installation of the Sonic series, and they're leaving it over to the Western devs because they're trying to figure out what Westerners want in a game. They've somewhat gone away from speed, though. It's not like a speed game anymore, necessarily. And that has me really worried. I'm not sure how I feel about that. They also say that it's going to be a lot more combat-based, which might explain Knuckles' current deformities, necklaceness, and his twig-sized legs, but his gigantic arms. They're literally gigantic. Look up a picture if you want a good laugh.
I mean, it hasn't bothered me in past games, but I guess just like the sun jump to Knuckles, you notice, like, wow, none of these characters have necks.
And to cover that up, they put scarves and bandages on everybody.
Yeah.
So,
it's just
apparently that's what the Western world wants.
It's a Halloween jamboree. I mean, you can look up plenty of pictures where you actually see Sonic, like, in hipster glasses.
Yeah.
It's this funny thing, but also, there's an ease of animation to this that you'll also see in, I kid you not, a TV show for Sonic Boom that will be airing on Cartoon Network, date pending.
I mean, correct me if I was wrong, though, but they used to have a Sonic game, or a Sonic TV show that
they did, but we don't talk about that.
Right, and they used to do that with a lot of shows, like Kirby, too, I remember having a TV show.
Kirby, right back at you.
Yeah, Kirby had a show.
Yeah, it was on, let's see.
Kids WB, I think?
Kids WB, that was it. Yeah, that was on for like 2-3 seasons.
So, I mean, it's not unheard of, it's just odd. And it's especially odd because the way Knuckles looks, it just puts me off, man. It's gross.
I mean, if of all the characters, I really do enjoy how they actually turned out. I really did enjoy Tails.
Although he's never wearing his goggles. There are constant stills of him driving a plane. No, like, windshield or anything, and his goggles are on his forehead.
But don't you also love it how the goggles are only so big to cover his, like, pupils?
It's very anime eyes.
Yeah.
What other highlights do we have? Insurgency. Madman? This is your game, isn't it?
This is exactly my game, because I have been playing this so much, and I've been playing this on both the competitive and non-competitive level, actually. There's actually the ESL for the European League, there isn't one currently for the North America League, but I feel like they're going to actually expand over there sometime soon. A lot of people are saying that it's kind of a mix between Counter-Strike Global Offensive and Red Orchestra 2 because of the gameplay and how quickly people die. Like, you shoot people, one shot, headshot, you're not walking away from it no matter what.
I can testify to that because several times I've walked into Madman's room and distracted him and caused him to die within a second. So
yeah, it's very quick reaction
and that makes him mad.
Go figure. But you literally, if you hit a headshot, the person's dead. It's done. If you survive more than 3 shots, people are generically looking to call you a hacker because it's just you don't survive that long in the game.
And if I remember correctly, it was a the time I went into Madman's room, like, everyone's apparently visiting his room, but,
it's a happening spot in the apartment.
It is,
very much
me.
so. But, when I went in to see the map, it was pretty wide open, too. It wasn't like this, tactical, chest-high walls that you could duck under. It was, like, pretty war realistic, I guess, to say.
You have to definitely know what your cover is going to be and not going to be throughout the map. That's why a lot of the newer players, they're getting kind of frustrated with it because they don't know the maps, therefore they're sitting out in the middle of nowhere, whereas everybody else is sitting in cover where, that's actually practical to shoot from rather than, leaving your entire body to get shot at.
I'm guessing this leads to a story, but do we want to go into it?
No, because generically I'm not the one standing out in the middle of nowhere.
I see.
Somebody's salty. Let's move on. Loadout. What do we have on that?
Loadout is the shoot 'em up. It is the loadout. It is, there's really no going around saying, like, this is the game that is defined by loadout, because it's advertised as such, it's the name as entailed, that's what it is. And, I mean, for gameplay, at first, you will be blown away. And I
literally?
I mean, Hotshot and Madman have watched me play this game, and it is just goofy beyond all recognition. It is the over-the-top, like, Mad World-esque with a lot more cartoony.
Yeah, it's like Borderlands art style and also their sense of humor in a lot of ways. But it plays a lot like TF2, which obviously you'd have more experience on than I. But from the few times that I looked over your shoulder, it looked like an absolutely outrageous game. Once you got into a gunfight with somebody, it was flashing lights, it was explosions.
I mean, to reiterate, when I mean loadout is as it says, the game came out and focused solely on its customization of the weapons. And it does go a bit more into character customization, but when it comes to gameplay, is all about that weapon customization, which it actually goes up to somewhere in the 55 millions.
Wow.
55 millions. But
that's different combinations?
Yes.
Wow.
Of just you start off with four. You start off, but you have 4 different kinds of guns. You got pulse, you got beam, you got rocket, you got rifle, and you just go to flippin' town with customization with this. You do unlock it, and nothing in this game is pay to win. You get the experience, you play the game, and get the experience, not before playing the game. But as such, you eventually buy your upgrades, and you just go to town with that sucker.
That's a breath of fresh air in our current DLC microtransaction age of gaming.
However, I do come to an unfortunate pass. When it does, those microtransactions that you're talking about do apply to the customization of the character themselves. In other senses, I would not have such a beef with it. Like in games like Skyrim or games where you're playing a massive online multiplayer game where you're not focused on the face. It doesn't matter so much to me that, I can't see his face. But when it gets to games like this where you are competing, you want to be your own character. I mean, a name defines you, but how your character looks. I mean,
so something more like League, where you can pay real money to get skins just to make your character stand out.
This isn't to say that you can't win them. I mean, there's this thing called Daily Chance, which is weird because 3 times in one day I got Daily Chance. But you can get clothes off of that, but I assume it's really low.
Right.
Regardless, going back to it, it is a lot of fun to just play around with. But it is still a very new game, so you're not going to have many maps to play on.
Right.
And I've yet to really branch into competitive play, but unfortunately, past the customization of the weapons, the game gets pretty shallow pretty quickly.
Really?
I mean, it's unfortunate, and maybe I have to dedicate a lot more time with it. I mean, I played TF2 for Team Fortress 2 for such a long period of time. I can't remember what it was like when I first started playing it. But maybe I just need to get that group going where we play regularly. But that's another point entirely.
I see. All right, you guys want to move on to Thief?
Let's move on to Thief.
Everybody in the Guild of Geeks is outrageously excited for Thief. Thief is the next installment to the Thief series, but to say it's a rework is not entirely the full truth. It's somewhat of a sequel in the fact that the last game in the series ends with you meeting a apprentice, and in the beginning of Thief, your apprentice dies. And that's kind of the moving point for the game, at least at the beginning. The reason that this game is so impressive, though, is that it is a full-on stealth game. The point of this game is to go around and steal as much as you can. Money is your experience. You are able to level up your weapons, your character with this. Money is everything in this game, which I think is amazing because I think it's the real motivation for the game.
And if you're unfamiliar with the Thief stealth system, may I introduce to you a few old classics you may remember. The Deus Ex Human Revolution game employs the old Thief system of stealth. The game Dishonored employs stealth system.
Really?
The stealth system. Thief, the very first game, pretty much defined what stealth was for a lot of the games that precede after.
It's a 15-year series.
I mean, I can't really speak so harshly because I have yet to finish the first game. By the way, thanks for the spoilers. But I would be really confident in saying this is one of the games that really it serves as like a father to the entirety of the stealth.
Completely agree. And it's not a spoiler. You can see it in the trailer. They're not trying to make it a secret.
just cocoon myself within everything. I don't even know what system it's on when I play the game. And it confuses the ever-living daylights out of me when I put it in.
And the one really impressive thing I think about this game is the customization. They've seemed to come into a really great middleman as far as, you know, your classic fans of the series and your new players. Fans of the series can turn off the entire HUD. And with that, that means that they can go and, you know, pretty much go hard mode. They don't get any help. They don't get the supernatural powers that your main character possesses. They are playing that game for real, and they're a real thief. Or, if you're new to the game and you just want to, you know, test it out, see what it's like, you can turn on things called Focus, which will help you through missions and help you through combat. And you can turn on your HUD so you see what your health is like, you know, you see directional stuff. So it's really customizable, and I think that's the best way they could have bridged two completely different audiences. That of the old classic fans and the new players.
And also, just a quick question that'll lead into another. Do you know if this game is third-person view or first-person view?
This game is 100% first-person view. They wanted to completely immerse the player in the game, so there is no option to go third player.
That's fantastic, because I was going to say that variability, which I've seen in other games, has worked marvelously. The ability to turn off your HUD is fantastic.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I'm sure it's been a topic of past generations, but you've seen the times where you're playing the game, but you can't enjoy
Yeah.
what the game's design, what the game's like gameplay is like, simply because you are staring at a bright red health bar when you're playing stealth.
Yeah, no. And, I mean, you can play this game where all you are seeing is what your character is seeing. Everything is completely gone. They did get rid of the jump button for this game, which has a lot of people really worried, but what they've employed more is a sprint button, and if you sprint at certain objects, you will climb up them or jump them. So we'll see how that works. A lot of games have tried it before, and it's not done well, and I've heard a few complaints about it in people who got a pre-release and were able to play it, that a lot of items that look like they should be scalable, a lot of items that, you know, you think you'd be able to get through, aren't, so it kind of, you know, messes up your escape. But we'll see what it's like when we finally get a game.
But I mean, when it comes down to it, jumping doesn't really seem to be integral to what I feel like a Thief series. Because I mean, it's not a Thief series, but Legend of Zelda is all about the exploration, the terrain jumping, the everything, and then put that in combination with Assassin's Creed, where there was a lot of like scaling where you just had to run up to something, to an edge or otherwise, and you could perform jumping maneuver. Or
then again, Assassin's Creed wasn't entirely based around stealth. At Assassin's Creed, you definitely didn't have any negatives for going into combat. You were encouraged almost sometimes to go into combat and fight people face to face. Whereas in Thief, I feel like you're definitely you're given the option. You're
much more given the option. You are able to, what they consider, going to 3 different like trees. One is the ghost, one is the predator, and one is the thief. So, you know, you get to choose whether or not you're lethal. You can completely avoid guards if you actually want to, and you can get to these goals and stuff without doing anything like that. Or you can just go around taking people out. It's your choice.
Interesting.
But yeah, we're really excited for it here at the Guild of Geeks. So stay tuned. In the future, we might be doing a review, hopefully. I can't wait to get this game. Alright, so now we're going to break for weather, right? Yeah.
Yes, that is.
We'll be back pretty quickly, so enjoy the beautiful noise of the weather.
Yes.
Weather.
A metric fuck ton of snow is coming in this Thursday.
I'm pretty sure we're not allowed to say that.
Yeah.
How long does it take usually?
Usually about 30 seconds.
30 seconds?
What are we talking about next?
Review? Rust.
Oh, Rust? Oh, right. Alright.
Alright, we got 15 seconds.
Rusty.
Now we get to finally
Calm
hear
down.
DJ Flatline.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Did I offend?
Did he offend you, madman?
I'm sorry, Master. I didn't mean it.
You're so overly angsty right now.
I know, because
Like,
like...
your
Have
talking
the,
is definitely
that, like, list
Yeah.
of stuff,
your speech.
like a different, like, I guess we don't really need it.
Yeah, we'll just talk. Alright, I think we're good now.
Yeah.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back to the Guild of Geeks. Right now, we're going to start a review of a very anticipated and... I guess I wouldn't say anticipated, it's out, but a very hyped up game.
Anticipated by those who have yet to play it.
Yes, anticipated by our viewers who aren't playing it currently. It is called Rust. And Flatline, would you like to take it away?
Yes, I would. All right, for those of you who don't know what Rust is, Rust was first created as a zombie survival game. Now, I know, we've heard it all over the place, all the time. It's really popular. Rust has actually been changed in the most recent patch to a just survival game. The zombies have been taken out. That's one of the big things that the community was looking at when the devs decided they didn't like where Rust was going because of how overplayed that theme is now. So,
It's pretty bad.
big news for current Rust players, the zombies are gone. Now, to start off this review, I would like to talk first about the difficulty of the game, because I think that's one of the big points in Rust. Starting off in Rust is incredibly hard.
And this is because of the community as well as the game mechanics in itself, right?
Correct. The community plays a huge part in how difficult this game is, or easy, depending on how many of you there are playing.
Would this be comparable at all to the DayZ community?
I think yes and no. Yes, because there are a lot of players who play both. And no, because I think the game has been taken in a sort of different direction than where DayZ has been.
I feel like the mortality rate of DayZ is too high to reach for Rust at this
very
moment.
much. Yeah.
You could argue that, but also the DayZ map is a lot larger.
Yeah,
Fair.
Sharners is a
Yeah.
lot bigger. It's Arma 2, which I play frequently, and I know the maps, so whatever. Sorry.
But anyway, so the way I have looked at difficulty for Rust is I looked at the beginning, the middle, and the end sections of a specific playthrough for a player. The beginning is not too hard. You kind of wander around for a while. It takes you a while to figure out that you have to hit trees to get wood and hit rocks to get minerals.
Very unintuitive, for sure.
Very unintuitive, but also at the same time,
What else are you gonna do?
that's where a caveman would start. The
Yeah.
idea of the game is that you start out at a caveman level. You are naked when you spawn, completely naked, no clothes at all. You've got a rock, 2 bandages which stop bleeding, they don't heal your health, and a fully lit torch. And that's all you get to start out with. And you get no directions, no one tells you what to do, no tutorials, no tips. You are just spawned randomly on the map, and you have to go from there.
So pretty much a Minecraft-esque feel
Yes.
to the start of the game.
The start, I would say, is very similar to Minecraft.
Very nice.
So, lots of players take different routes. Some people like to find animals to kill first because you need food. You need food to survive or else you'll starve. Other people like looking for rocks because without rocks you can't make mining tools. And mining tools greatly increase the speed at which your character builds up into the later game items. Personally, I think looking for food is the most important because if you don't have food, you're going to starve. And you starve relatively quickly once you get down to 0 health. Your 0 food, I should say. Your health starts to drop incrementally at a relatively slow pace, but you have 100 health, and in Rust, that will go by pretty quickly. So after you get that initial bit done of finding some food, finding the first tools, then you build into the middle game. The middle game is centered around building a shelter or a house. And this point is where most players typically get to in each playthrough of a specific character. And it's, I would say, a good place to be. Not a lot of people get to the end game because that takes a lot of work, and usually if you're on a server with a lot of people, it takes a lot of members.
What is the end game?
The end game involves having all the guns, mods, there are explosives you can get, C4, called explosive charges in Rust, and having a big, nicely built house. That's what I consider the end game.
And that's a giant metal house, right? From
Giant metal houses will take days and days to build if you are playing like a normal player.
But normally the giant houses that he's referring to are built out of the wood and other wood constructibles.
Yes, most people just build their houses out of wood.
okay. But you can break into wood, not easily, but doably, right?
Yeah, you can break into wood houses using explosive charges, and you can break doors down using hatchets and pickaxes.
I see.
You can't break down wood walls or pillars, anything but doors, unless you have explosive charges, though.
I see.
Which can be a huge hassle when you're building your house, because if you misplace something, that's
Good
going
luck.
to stay there. But anyways, from moving from mid to late game, I found I have myself, with about 120 hours of gameplay, don't get to that very often, because there are large groups of players that like to work together, and they go around, they raid other people. That's how the game works. So typically, not many people get to endgame. I have played with a group of friends a couple times, and that is the only time I've gotten to endgame and stayed there for more than an hour or two. But that pretty much takes the game into easy mode. Once you've hit late game, that's pretty much it. All you have left to do is run around and kill other players, because the NPCs in the game, which are now only wolves and bears, can hurt you, and they're really easy to kill with guns.
I heard also that, I heard you also talking about how when you logged out of the game, you actually weren't safe. You actually had to make sure that your character was like in a safe area, lest they be preyed upon by those raiding parties that you were talking about.
That is correct. When players of Rust log out, they go into a mode called Sleeper Mode. The devs of the game wanted it to be slightly more realistic than most games would bring about, so when you log out, your character lays on the ground and is able to be killed by other players. That's why DJ Freshy Fresh was saying you need to be in a safe place, like a house or a shelter, so people can't kill you and take your stuff.
So it becomes an Animal Crossing of deadly proportion.
Well, for how long do you stay in the sleeper mode? I'm assuming after a certain period of time that, you just
No, when
stay.
you log out, your character lays down and lays down till you log back in.
Oh, see.
Or you die.
Or until you die.
And then you get spawned randomly again with your
Yep,
naked
and then you'll
your
spawn
rock.
again with the rock, bandages, and torch the next time you log in and click respawn.
Now, is that per server, or is that universal over all servers?
Each server is unique, so if you're playing on one server and you get to, like you build a house, if you log out, log into a different server that you haven't been to before, you start anew.
I mean, also to add on to it, now, the world that you wandered around in. To me, when I was watching DJ Flatline actually explore through this, it looked very Myst-esque. If you guys remember that old puzzle game.
Oh yeah.
Would you through your avid exploration of this game, would you say it's comparable to that, or is there any?
I find it kind of hard to compare the two because we've kind of evolved from that sort of game.
Fair.
I would say the landscape does remind me of Myst quite a bit now that I think about it, but I don't know, I can't really think of any other good comparisons to make.
I guess it wasn't so much of a comparison, but like, what did you personally feel? What did you experience, and what did you think of the general idea of the map that you were exploring in?
The map, I think, is relatively well balanced. There's a giant road that goes around the entirety of the map, and it takes a solid 30-ish minutes to run around the entire thing if you don't stop at all. So it's a decent-sized map. The resources and areas where you can pick up items are evenly spaced out. The only problem I do have is that resources and items spawn in sets of groups. So the good players learn these areas and go there to farm. Not in these areas, there are none at all. There are no resources, no items, no wildlife. So you've got patches of area with tons of stuff, and then patches of area with nothing. And that's what separates the players who start off quickly and the players who wander around for an hour not knowing what to do.
Oh, I see. From what I've seen, it almost feels like an adult Minecraft in a lot of ways. It just seems a lot more harsh than Minecraft is.
Now, DJ Flatline, do you know how big the map is?
What do you
Off
mean
the top
by
of
big?
Because
Scaling.
I know Shrinerus from Arma 2, which is the original DayZ mod map, is 225 kilometers squared, which is gigantic.
That is a lot of area.
That is really, yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, Tronerus is definitely by far the biggest map that I've ever played on. So I don't know if you know the square kilometer or...
I don't know exactly how large it is.
I guess not to say this in comparison, like, oh, why isn't it as big as Arma's map? But I guess, do you think it offers a different kind of setting when the relatively same communities are now put into, I assume, a smaller map size, or maybe bigger, or maybe? Do you think there would be a difference if that were the case?
I think there is a difference specifically because I would say people in general typically learn quickly where to go for supplies. So on pretty much every server I've been to, and I've been to quite a few in my Rust playtime, players already are set up in the areas with all the resources. So the new players kind of have to get in and out, slowly getting tiny amounts of resources, trying not to be killed by the people who already inhabit the areas. And there's sort of a hierarchy set, so people that get there first are on top, the new players who kind of stay around in the middle, and then the new players to Rust who kind of wander around and get camped all the time by the higher players.
I mean, by the sounds of it, it does sound pretty unforgiving to newbies that are trying this game out. Do you think that the devs will consider this, or do you think they'll really keep to the roots and make sure this game is as not to say criminally unforgiving, but as realistic as survival is?
Well, I might be wrong, but I believe there are servers that are like no-kill servers.
Yes,
so
there
you can get
few player-versus environment only.
Okay, so you can get somewhat acclimated to the gameplay and like what you're supposed to do. And I think Flatline, you did that the first time, just to like.
I did. I played a couple hours on PvP servers, realized I wasn't getting anywhere, switched over to PvE, and then learned my bearings before I switched back.
I guess I just see a trouble with this PvE because, I mean, to go back to the reference of Minecraft, it seems more productive to be PvE because it was a game about creating. Whereas in Rust, from what I've seen from gameplay, it's more about surviving rather than creating the most aesthetically beautiful house or otherwise.
Yeah, for the average player, surviving is the main goal. Getting not a large, but an average-sized house and trying to live.
But I mean, in the end, I actually correct my own statement. It's like a DJ Hotshot said. The PvE is for getting your roots. So right. It's not like you have to come onto this server and say like, oh, I'm going to create something. But I mean, you're right. It's all about getting your bearings and then going against the quote-unquote big dogs.
I really want to build a castle. I'm talking about like full walls, like get out a huge area, maybe like a huge area of that like high resource spots and just block out everybody.
Oh, like one of those old-fashioned, 16th century reinforced steel.
Yeah, exactly. That's
barred
what I'm talking
concrete.
It
castles.
should pretty much be a battleship that is on land.
In my newbie hours, when I first started, that's what I wanted too. But I realized quickly that is not the greatest idea because those are the houses that get raided first. The bigger your house, the higher chance you have of people coming and trying to blow up your doors and steal all your stuff.
Unless I have a turret.
Unless you have a turret. And
stationed at all times, which is operated by a bear.
If you have one of those, I want one.
Are turrets and like other weapons aside from the ones you carry on your person, are they actually like mounted guns, I guess? Are they available in the Rust servers?
No.
All right,
there are no mounted turrets used by bears.
What about mounted turrets on top of bears?
I have actually not seen those either.
Well, look at that DLC when you get to it.
Get ready for the microtransactions.
Something that I would like to talk about is how well I personally think the dev team is doing considering the instant popularity of Rust. Rust, in 2 months, has sold 1 million copies.
Wow.
Which, to compare it to another game that the devs have come out, this is Gary, the same person who made Gary's mod.
Gary Newman.
Yeah, Gary Newman.
Really?
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
Same guy. And in the short time that Rust has been out, it has already beaten half of Gary Mod's popularity. And that was out for 9 years, something outrageous.
Yeah.
So they are outrageously surprised by the success of Rust.
Yep. I think they've done a great job. They have recently slowed down in their patches. They've been trying to do weekly patches, and it slowed down to about every other week. But I think they have done an incredible job. They're very, very good with fixing what needs to be fixed and leaving the extraneous stuff out so they can get the necessary patches done quickly. And for that, I give them props.
Yes, mad props indeed. To make that jump. I mean, from what? I mean, how much? Just a side quote there, but like, well, Gary's Mod was a fantastic game, man. I'm really glad his success led to Rust, which is a fantastic game in and of itself too.
We have to get to another PSA, but DJ Flatline, everybody's waiting at home. What do you give Rust?
For Rust, a game currently in alpha, I would give it a solid 8. It is looking to be a great game.
8 out of 10. That is an amazing score, especially for an alpha. So check this game out. Do you happen to know off the top of your head how much it's costing right now?
Right now, it is $20 on Steam, $19.99.
That is actually not that bad at all. You'd think like, oh, an alpha, but nowadays, that's a pretty good deal. So, PSA time?
PSA time.
All
And
right.
here we go.
PSA.
All right,
PSA.
now what?
Now we're gonna do your Freshy Fresh,
Freshy
and
Freshes.
then the Flash forward.
All right.
Do you have
What's fresh?
do you have enough stuff for that?
20 seconds.
I'm not entirely sure if I have enough, but I'll push it.
Okay, because at any point, just
Please just keep barraging me with.
give this, and we'll know that it's time to switch
10 seconds.
segments. 10 seconds of us reading this PSA. I'm so excited. PSA.
PSA, 2 seconds, PSA.
And hello, we are back to this segment called DJ Freshy Fresh's Freshy Fresh Pick.
No, that wasn't it. It's what's fresh.
I'll call it. It's my segment. Anyway,
Man, I came up with that name. I was really proud of it.
Well,
Don't take this away from me.
well, this is my.
Well, you are a hotshot.
Anyway, guys, I am here to discuss the game Kingdom Rush. That's right, you may have heard it because it is absolutely booming in popularity ever since its release. Let's see, July 28th of 2011. Yeah, that was an entire 3 years ago, yet it is still pretty strong in the market. It's recently been followed up with Kingdom Rush Frontiers. But anyway, that's the titles. Let me tell you about the actual game.
Please.
Kingdom Rush is a tower defense series that does follow the pretty generic standards of tower defense games. You have this one goal where you don't want any of the enemies to come by, and you have to set up towers which involve an archer tower, mage tower, knight, and ballistic bombard tower that you have to deal with. Now these towers are upgradable, and it can go into many different kinds of.
Sorry, we're passing notes to each other.
Hi,
It's
my name's Doge.
but anyway, it is
Much castle.
Such wow.
Such kingdom.
But I mean, I guess this game stands out to me.
Oh.
Freshy Fresh, my segment.
Freshness from 2011.
Be that as it may, it is fresh to me because it is just so glorious continuously coming out with some of the stuff that it does. I mean, it's come
Like
out...
Twinkies. Twinkies are always fresh.
They are, even if they get closed down and then reopened.
They had to come back fresh.
Yeah, well, whatever. It's going on with the segment. We'll come up with a Twinkie segment later.
Some of the popularity has been leaked out onto several other mediums other than just Flash games. Where it originally started out on ArmorGames.com, a very popular Flash game site. It has leaked out onto Android and iPad for only $2.99 and $4.99 for the HD
version.
remake.
HD something. It looks pretty, apparently.
Yeah.
That's what that $2 is.
It is very pretty, and I'll get to that in just a bit.
Do you have an iPad?
I do
haven't
not.
seen one in the apartment.
It's not there, but
I've only seen a tablet, and it's named Bamboo.
and it is
gets
my
used,
baby.
Only semi-frequently.
No, it's used all the time, just not for our poster.
That's true.
Stories abounds. But anyway, it's also come out actually recently, January 6th of 2014. It's come out for Steam, and it has plans for a DLC called Curse of Blackburn, and you can buy it out on Steam for $9.99.
So what do you actually do in this game? Because I know nothing about this. Flash games and apps are not my expertise. Is this another Flappy Birds?
Were you not listening when I was giving you all that mumbo jumbo?
No, I was passing notes.
Exactly. Everyone else was passing notes, apparently.
Is this Kingdom Rush remade? Is that what you're telling us?
For Frontiers or
Yeah.
for Frontiers is the continuation of this series. It
Yeah, I didn't hear that part either.
Yeah, we gotta stop passing notes.
Flatline, did you hear it? No, see, nobody here heard you say that it was the next.
All right, calm down, Madman. Here we go. All right. We'll start a new segment next week, Rag on Fresh and Fresh. For this week, let's talk about Kingdom Rush or Frontier or whatever we're talking about.
As it stands, Kingdom Rush's storyline is actually pretty fun to listen up to. In Frontiers, the game designer,
Devs, yeah.
the dev, really pushed forward on making comics to actually tell the storyline, which are actually very beautiful to look at in its own cartoony fashion, which the game does follow in and of itself. But it follows a trail of a few heroes that guide this army to defeat your traditional evil wizard to save the kingdom. But
Right.
I mean, I'm just dashing around the point. But what really brought me to this game is just how beautiful and how well this game was made. I mean, there are several other tower defense games that I could list off, like Incursion, which also has a hero assist idea to tower defense. There's a Sentry Knight, which is one of those single tower defenses, and many other games that do follow the same gameplay as Kingdom Rush. But if you play Kingdom Rush, it feels, pardon the joke on the segment, but it feels fresh when you play it. It feels like it's its own standalone game that is meant to go above and beyond, and it has earned its place on Steam as its own game, as a tower defense, which is surprising considering how many Flash games you see that are actually tower defense.
Do you know how much it is on Steam right now?
As said, it is $9.99 on Steam.
That's not bad, actually.
No.
And, how long would you say, approximate, can you play this game?
As much fun as I've had from this game, I am not the best macro tasker, so this game has taken me significantly longer than I'm sure a more apt, maybe a Rock would do better than me in this game.
But they would be good at defense.
But the point still stands. If you're an avid tower defense player and you are really good at macro tasking, I would say this game gives you a pretty decent spanned out, of course.
Right.
Not like just, sit down today, but like a full 30 hours of good enjoyment, because
That's good.
you can play through it, and I mean, there's that traditional, stickler, I have to get the perfect score, make sure no one passes, and they also have challenges for each one that involve the Ironhide challenge and the I believe, Iron Fist challenge for each one, where it messes with the gameplay a bit, but it offers that challenge to those who want a bit more from the game. But all in all, I would say the game does offer a lot of really good replay value that would also add on to it. So I would stick by a good strong 30 hours of gameplay.
Nice. Well, that sounds good. So, guys, check it out. Kingdom Rush on Steam on all of your smartphone markets.
Frontiers?
Get in there. Frontiers also.
Frontiers also just been released of June 6, 2013.
Very nice. Very nice. So, now we're going to do what we like to call Flash Forward. It's pretty much what you can expect from us, and it's a time where we get to talk about the Guild of Geeks, which we love talking about, by the way. Down the pipeline, Naughty Dog is considering a sequel for The Last of Us. So if you really like the first game, get ready for a sequel. Maybe. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. All of us over here are holding our breath. Not really, because it would probably be months. But we are waiting to hear more news. Once we hear, you will hear right here on the Guild of Geeks. What else do we got, guys?
Rainbow Six Patriots is still going to be released. Originally, we heard about it from E3 2011, I believe. And so they actually said that it was going to be released in Q4 of 2013. But they have also announced Ubisoft, who's the producer of the Rainbow Six series, has said that it actually had to go entirely back to stage 1 of development. They scrapped pretty much everything. I think they even got rid of a couple of the lead designers of different gameplay aspects and art aspects and stuff like that. So complete and total rework of it.
I'm so afraid that this is going to be another Spore fiasco. For those of you who don't know, they pretty much had to do the same thing. They started over, and the game that came out was not the game in the trailers, and it disappointed not even just the guild, just everybody across the board. It's just one of those frowny faces on the stamp of gaming history.
I mean, I can definitely speak for it. A while ago, a friend of mine and I actually did a Let's Play of the Spore game, and I mean, we were really admittedly, we were really getting into it, but as soon as the game just dropped off.
It just doesn't hold any water. Like, it looks so good on the outside, but once you get into it, you realize how boring and tedious every action is.
I mean, what was it? A lot of the we were getting really excited about like a lot of the development stages where you would conquer and you would become new civilizations and you would develop. But actually, it just became as said, a tedious matter for just conquering one planet, if anything.
Yeah. Now, Madman, we stole your segment, your piece.
But
what about Rainbow Six?
Now, the thing is, Ubisoft has actually done this a multitude of times before. If you ever notice, throughout a couple of their series, all of the gameplay aspects just kind of up and change, like the dev team switched. And that's exactly what happens. Splinter Cell series, you go from a classic stealth series where it's hardcore, you don't want to get caught ever, to the Mark and Execute, which was introduced in Conviction, I believe. Yeah. And so that was actually because they changed the devs who did it, and they wiped everything, said, here, we're giving this to a different studio, you guys work on it. And I enjoy what they liked doing. I enjoyed what they did with the Conviction series and then after. But it is kind of no longer the stealth game that it used to be, which...
It's always one of those gambles, I guess. You know, could it end up being really great? You know, it could be what the series needed, like Sonic Boom. Or it could be not what the series needed, like Spore. Or Sonic Boom. We'll find out. What else? Evolve. OMG. I am so excited about...
You're so excited. I
Evolve.
think the guild is stoked for this.
This game, from what we've heard, is amazing. It is by Turtle Rock, the guys who brought us Left 4 Dead, and it is a 4v1 hunters vs. monster game. It looks amazing. And we got to see today, Tuesday, February 11th.
Yeah, check on our page and you'll find the link to the trailer.
Oh, absolutely. And we got to see it literally today, hot off the presses. It looks so awesome. I'm so excited to see about this, and it's in our flash forward because I expect to be bringing you even more news about it. I literally check Reddit every day and hope to see Evolve gameplay, Evolve trailers, anything about this, and I will eat it up.
I'm also really interested, not just on the game itself, but I'm really interested to see where it's going to take the idea of multiplayer, where it's literally all versus one.
Right. It's going to be a very interesting game mechanic, and I'm super excited to see where that series takes us. What else we got, guys? We got anything coming down the... Were you excited about anything?
I played a little bit of Homefront, and that was actually a relatively decent game. I didn't play a whole lot of it. It got kind of repetitive. It tickled my COD itch for a little bit that I didn't actually want to play Call of Duty. But, it satisfied that need.
So, that's great.
So, then...
Everybody needs their needs satisfied.
So, apparently Homefront 2 is coming out. There have been whispers about it. We don't have anything other than the fact that it might be released in 2014.
But that's a long year, so
yeah.
Fingers crossed. We'll let you guys know if we hear anything about it. The Guild of Geeks on Friday at 9. Okay, so for the last about a minute and a half, we're just going to talk about Guild stuff.
Yeah.
Our first live show is going to be February 21st, 9 o'clock. It's a Friday, so, once you're done with classes.
The poster's done.
The poster is finally done. It was due Friday, but
we
got it in Sunday.
Yeah, DJ Hotshot anticipated
1 a.m.
his little artist.
Yep. DJ Freshy Fresh always bringing us the work on time.
Always.
Always.
With that bamboo tablet.
Yeah, we got
our
him.
program. Anyways.
So, that's in the works. We're going to try maybe getting some interviews. working on it, trying to get some devs, trying to get maybe GameStop manager, the guy from Dojo. We'll see what happens. So keep listening. We're going to keep trying to keep the Facebook page, the Twitter, the Tumblr up to date with daily news. So join those at your leisure. Join all three. Do it. Why not? And other than that, just get ready. Start listening.
And this
We'll be here.
was the Guild of Geeks.
Yes,
Brought
it
to
was.
you in part by Longwood University, WMLU 91.3, the music and sound of Longwood University.
And Farmville, Virginia.
And Farmville, Virginia.